Despite the grey, chilly weather outside, the deserted gymnasium felt hot and stuffy. Harry Sullivan lay on the padded bench, gasping and running with sweat, as he forced his numb arms to push the barbell up off his chest and then locked his elbows in a final agonizing repetition of the bench press routine. 40! He panted, logging his progress and his age with the same number. Life begins at 40, he muttered wryly, trying to lower the heavy barbell safely onto the bench behind his head and screwing up his eyes with the effort. "Is that so?" boomed a rich bass voice above him. Harry opened his eyes to see a grinning brown face looming over him upside down. The crippling weights were effortlessly snatched out of his hands by a gigantic West Indian who playfully wielded the barbell as though it were a squash racket, his enormous arms bulging with awesome power as he casually placed it on the floor. "Don't think I've had the pleasure," Harry gasped, wiping the sweat out of his eyes with one hand and waving the other in the air in a proffered handshake. "But thanks a lot, old chap." A resonant chuckle tinged with malice made Harry glance sharply up again. He just managed to glimpse an explosion of glossy brown muscles before a crushing weight suddenly landed on his chest, forcing all the breath completely out of his lungs. "Not at all, old chap," boomed the grinning strong man. "Always glad to help out." An earthquake of a laugh shook the empty gymnasium, and the huge face vanished from Harry's panic-stricken view. For a few seconds, Harry lay stunned and helpless. Then he grasped the barbell, and his eyes bulged with effort as he vainly attempted to shift it off his flattened rib cage. His ears thumped like steam hammers, and brilliantly coloured flashes exploded in his head as the steel bar pressed relentlessly into his body. He tried to call out, but there was no air in his squashed lungs, and he couldn't even snatch the smallest breath. With desperate determination, he gripped the bar with both hands on the left side of his body and managed to push it slowly across his chest, so that it overbalanced on the right side and the huge iron discs hit the floor with a deafening clang. At last he was able to take a few gulps of air, but the bar was still crushing the right side of his chest. With a defiant yell, he seized the discs on the left-hand end of the bar and managed to raise them just enough to enable him to push them back over his head. The massive barbell rolled back along the edge of the bench and then crashed to the floor. 41, he croaked, gratefully swallowing the stale air and listening to the echo of the falling weights until long after it had died away. He lay on the bench for several minutes, gingerly massaging his bruised and aching ribs and checking that none had been broken. Eventually he levered himself painfully to his feet and staggered into the shower room. Under the fiercely refreshing jets of water, Harry puzzled over his narrow escape. Surely it couldn't have been a practical joke. The barbell which the awesome stranger had dropped onto his chest had been more than 100 pounds heavier than the one Harry had just been using. But the alternative seemed equally unthinkable, that a stranger had tried to kill him in such a way as to make it appear an accident. But who? And why? He pondered these questions while he dried himself, and then slipped on casual slacks, smart shirt and double-breasted navy blue blazer. As he knotted his Dartmouth College tie in the steamy mirror, he reflected that his month's leave had not begun very promisingly. Glancing at his youthful, square-jawed features, he had a sudden shocking thought. 41. Tomorrow was his birthday.